get to the latest on these fires.
Yeah, we're talking about the Sepulveda fire that broke out overnight. Forward progress has been stopped. That's the good news. The evacuation warning has been lifted. The fire has burned 40 acres. It spread very quickly. This is video courtesy of the Citizen app. The fire flared up yesterday near the 405 freeway off-ramp near the Getty Museum. No structures were damaged and no injuries reported. However, this could impact traffic for drivers who use the 405 freeway.
New information just in from the Hughes fire. It's grown quickly.
Evacuation orders there are still in place. There is concerned winds will pick up this morning. Mario Ramirez live from Castaic with the latest there. Mario.
Good morning. Tens of thousands still under those mandatory evacuations. We're on the south side of the fire near Castaic Lake, and I want to show you what's happening here. This is a hard closure at Lake Hughes Road with LA County Sheriff's deputies, and then on the other side of the freeway, you can see CalGuard members. There are still hundreds in the area helping local law enforcement around these fire zones. They're now here near the Hughes fire, and let's go to the video. Fire crews and airdrops have been focusing on the north flank of the fire. The Hughes fire started just before 11 o'clock yesterday morning near Castaic Lake, north of where fire crews are still working to fully contain the Palisades and Eden fires. Officials say current conditions are more favorable. Calmer winds allowing helicopters to carry out those water drops throughout the night. And they also note that crews here have direct access to Castaic Lake and other nearby reservoirs for those drops. The area where the fire is burning, known for its dry, grassy hills, making the fire conditions critical. And that's what those crews are working with on the ground. People being ordered to evacuate in the areas near the reservoir, including areas of Bitter Canyon, Cambridge, Charlie Canyon, Hillcrest, and Paradise Ranch. The Sheriff's Department urging residents in these zones to be prepared.
Once people leave those hard evacuation order zones, unfortunately, they're not allowed back into that specific area because of the curfew, and with the fire department needing that area safe for them to do their jobs. The warning zones, obviously, we're telling people, hey, to pack all your desirable items such as paper, cash, any pictures, basically everything that your families hold dear to themselves, ready to go.
An evacuation shelter's been set up at College of the Canyons in Santa Clarita and the East Gym. Red flag warnings for critical fire risk are still in place through tomorrow morning. Now, coming back out here live, the freeway was reopened fully late last night as the flames moved northeast away, and there is a smoke advisory that's been issued for northern Los Angeles County, Simi Valley, and Thousand Oaks, and we'll have more on that, but definitely a day where you'll see and smell that smoke here in these areas. For now, that's the latest in Castaic. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Mario, thank you. 5:32 now. Schools across multiple districts in the Santa Clarita Valley are closed because of poor air quality. Today, campuses in the Saugus Union District are shut down, including West Creek Academy and Tesoro del Valle Elementary. Castaic High, Valencia High, and others in the Hart District are also closed. So is the Santa Clarita Valley International Charter School.
College of the Canyons, Valencia, and Canyon Country campuses are also closed, but online classes continue. Officials are assessing safety concerns before deciding to reopen. All right, here's Samana with a look at the forecasts. Yeah, the smoke yesterday was incredible. I actually saw it, here on the west side too. So it's coming down to our area, and that coupled with all the fires that we've had, the air quality is just terrible.
Oh, it is just horrible. So make sure you protect your lungs, and if you've got to bring out your N95 masks out to help you out, do so. And it's all courtesy of the offshore winds. Those winds coming out of the northeast pushing towards the southwest. And if you're talking about the Hughes fire, all that billowing smoke that we saw yesterday just continues to pour out in those very vulnerable regions downwind. And unfortunately, we've got more winds on the way. We are tracking currently a wide range of wind conditions near the Hughes fire where Mario is. So good to see that winds have backed down. There is that possibility that we could see another burst of winds this morning before winds diminish, but not until later this evening. The offshore flow, you can see here Camarillo with wind speeds pushing to about 22 miles an hour. Malibu Hills, 39 miles an hour. So it is in alignment of what we have been forecasting. The high wind warnings will remain in place till about 2 p.m., but the red flag conditions are going to extend all the way through tomorrow morning. We are very dry. We are warm to hot, and unfortunately makes for critical fire weather. We've got rain in the forecast, and I'll go over that when I get back and show you the 7-day forecast, so you don't want to miss out. And also traffic conditions, now that we have these new fire zones, I wanted to also point out, with all that smoke yesterday, did shut down the 5 freeway for a short period of time due to the low visibility. But now the 5 freeway is open, but the closures, the off-ramps are still closed off at Parker Road and Lake Hughes Road. But yes, right now the 5 still open at this hour. And Sepulveda Pass, the Getty Center Drive off-ramps only are closed off. 405 looks good. Send back over to you, too.
More on the Sepulveda Pass, the fire that broke out there overnight. Forward progress has been stopped.
However, the fire will still impact you if you use the 405 to get to wherever you need to get to go this morning. Roberta Gonzales is live in Brentwood with a look at the progress. Roberta, good morning.
Good morning. Current air temperature stands in the mid and high 50s. The winds have been fluctuating. In fact, they are increasing. Looks like that offshore push again out of the north and northeast up to about 10 miles per hour. I've been out here since 4 o'clock this morning to talk about this fire that began right after 11 o'clock last night. But to tell you better about exactly what's going on here, let's bring in PIO Officer David Ortiz. Come on in here, sir. Good morning to you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Perhaps you can describe the situation.
Well, the situation is quiet, as you can see to the rear, but firefighters are still here with hose around this fire, making sure that any hot spots don't move out of the perimeter of the fire. We have very dry vegetation out there, so any spark will make this vegetation just catch fire immediately, and that's because of the drought we've had for the last over decade. We've been having a lot of new starts. For example, the Hughes fire the day before, and now this one here next to the 405 freeway.
So this one started right around 11 o'clock last night. How did you know about it? Someone call in?
Yeah, somebody called 911. It sounds like somebody on the freeway saw the fire starting, and it quickly grew to 10 acres when the first firefighters arrived. Then it grew to 250 firefighters, and we had 7 aircraft, 5 medium, 2 heavy, and they slowed it down a lot. Luckily, the wind wasn't pushing it. It was going against the wind. It was basically making a topographic run up the hill, using the angle of the hill to keep itself going. But once it got to the ridge top and the fire road up there, it stopped.
So I think the difference between last night and what's occurring right now, the winds are pretty flat, but the winds are increasing today. Any advice to anybody out there listening?
Well, the advice is please be careful. Any new start, we're going to attack it very aggressively, so call it in as soon as you see it, and be careful out there. It's not the day to be doing your weed abatement, because any metal blade striking a rock can cause a spark, and we'll have another fire.
Yeah, you remember that happened in the Oakland Hills back near 1989, 1990, caused big damage there, and many people did perish as a result.
Yeah, we definitely don't need new fires.
We definitely don't. And I know you got a lot of work to do. We have fire engines coming in and out because they continue to mop up here so they can contain any kind of hot spot that may develop right here off Sepulveda Boulevard, 405 north and south. Reporting from this area, I'm Roberta Gonzales.
Roberta,
back to you in the studio.
Roberta, could you ask David Ortiz there if he does expect this to really impact the 405 freeway? Because all of those units seem to be stationed there on Sepulveda, right? So the 405 remains open, and what impact might it have?
So our own Bobby Castro asks that since you have so many rigs out here this morning, what do you think how this will impact the morning commute?
Well, it's definitely going to have an effect. The freeways are open, north and southbound, so it shouldn't impact too many people commuting through the area, going to the other freeways, but Sepulveda northbound is closed, so that might affect people trying to get into the valley.
All right.
Bobby, got your answer?
All right, that's perfect, Roberta. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it.
Let's go to Samada with a check of the forecast. Yeah, the 405 is usually in the Sepulveda Pass usually terrible, but once you shut down Sepulveda too, there's no other access road there, so just be aware of that.
Yeah, great updates from Roberta as well as that PIO. Good Daily Weather is sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino, and we continue, of course, to watch those wind conditions. Red flag alerts still in place, and not only in place, but we are extending these concerns all the way through Friday morning. before we're completely out of the danger. We have very dry fuels, as we continue to point out, and those winds still going to be a problem, especially when we're potentially going to be dealing with a quick burst of winds later this morning. As we take a look at our wind future cast, those areas shaded in the highlights and the contours are the most areas impacted by those gusty winds, and winds could push, the gusts could reach up to 50 to even 60 miles per hour. So we are going to continue to be on top of it all. And also winds impacting downwind through the Cajon Pass along the 15 corridor, the 5 downwind through the Santa Ana Mountains. And yes, if you're driving, if you have commute plans heading in and out of the Coachella Valley, will also be a problem with those really strong gusty cross winds. As we make our approach into the morning, not a whole lot of change here. So we're going to sustain those wind speeds going on into the afternoon before we slowly notice things finally backing down, diminishing, and the reversal of winds, the onshore flow is going to help increase the humidity finally, and we're going to actually bring in rain chances. Taking a look at our future cast, breaking it down for you. Saturday, we're still doing pretty good, but you can see here the green slowly seeping in, and by Saturday afternoon, widespread rain, light, moderate, and potentially heavy at times. We're going to be watching the burn scar areas for the possibility of any pop-up thunderstorms that could lead to flash flood concerns. Mud and debris flow is possibly a problem, and even high elevation mountain snow. And that snow level is expected to drop down to right around 3,500 feet or even 4,000 feet, and that could impact some of the local roads. The rain will extend all the way into not just Monday, but residual showers into Tuesday. Send back over to you, too.
I just want to thank you.